Should be good.
I don't think this actually does anything. I'm just doing it because it looks cool.
I feel like I'm going to get cut up. So what are you making?
So today I'm going to make a dish called Shakshuka. It's spelled S-H-A-K, S-H-O-U-K-A. And it is a Middle Eastern dish that is a tomato-based poached egg and cheese dish.
So I from what I've seen, it's kind of huevos ranchero, Mediterranean / Middle Eastern style.
I'm sorry?
Is it like a huevos ranchero but Mediterranean style kind of thing?
What's a huevos ranchero?
I believe it's like they have some sort of tomato sauce and they drop the eggs in there. I don't.
Oh, yeah. I see. I always thought huevos ranchero was just like eggs and stuff.
That's what I equated to. I just know there's tomatoes in there, but that's all I know.
Yeah. But I'm also an idiot, and I thought that huevos meant balls.
Well, that's the slang,
Is that the slang?
the street slang.
What other street slang for dicks?
Oh, there's I don't know. I think it varies. Because like, there's a couple times like when I was in Cuba, they'd say something. I was like, "What's that?" They're like, "Oh, this." And I'm like, "Oh, that." Okay. Beats me. I had no idea.
Awesome.
So I have no idea how this works.
Okay.
I've used it once. So you turn it on and then
Figure
power
this out.
level? I don't know.
Okay, we got on. There goes the fan.
It's like a nice blowing air over here. I need to drink. We have to maintain sober October.
Huh?
We have to maintain sober October.
Yeah.
So I'm a little worried because every time, like, you've been on the podcast or something like that, I've always screwed up the audio somehow.
Okay.
So I'm a little concerned that I'm not recording or something is screwed up.
All right.
Oh, we'll see.
Well, if it sucks, then we'll just go back in and we'll redo it, and you can do my voice. And
We'll
I'll
do
your
puppets.
voice. Yeah, puppets. Yeah. So this is it's a fairly simple thing to make. It's delicious, especially if you're into spicier, more curry kind of stuff. But what's really interesting about this recipe for me is that I learned how to make this stuff because of hallucinogenics and traveling and love.
This sounds like a long, interesting Scott story.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I'll try to tell it interesting. It's definitely a long one.
Well, even your boring stories, they're always I'm always enthralled by them. So,
Really? I didn't think I was that interesting.
well, that's all relative, I guess. I mean, when you talk to somebody like, oh, what'd you do this weekend? Like, oh, I just went skydiving and this, and like, what?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it's just every weekend. Like, that's what you do? You're like, yeah, that's pretty standard. Nothing exciting. But their exciting weekend is like, oh, we went to Chili's. You're like,
Yeah.
you know?
No. That makes sense. That's kind of like whenever I hang out with my family and they're all doctors or television producers, lawyers, environmental lawyers.
You feel like a
like
schlub.
people that they just don't. They've got amazing, awesome careers and they're super smart and they've got great families and that's it. They've got all that awesome stuff, but then they always want to like sit me down whenever I see them for holidays and like, tell us some stories. What stupid country did you go to? What's this new ridiculous thing that you're probably doing with your life? Which I mean, like the way that I learned to make this stuff was probably from one of those adventures. Which just start off. So you're gonna preheat the oven for 400, and you got to get a pan that you're gonna use that can actually go into the oven. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna start this. We're gonna sweat the vegetables. We're gonna season the vegetables, and then we're gonna put in the tomato stuff, and then we'll create from there. All right. So July of last year, I've talked to you about going to Peru before.
Mm-hmm.
So I went down to Peru, and not necessarily for the same reason that a lot of people did. Although I told most of the people in my life at the time, especially work, that I was going down there to hike the Incan Trail. I went down there to do a bunch of drugs in the jungle. When I say drugs, I mean plant medicines.
So you found somebody with the. Get your phone or something.
The spiritual center.
Shit, what was I saying? Yeah. So you found a place to do ayahuasca down there, or?
Yep. So I went down to a spiritual center. Actually, I spent a few weeks down there. The first half was down in the Amazon jungle, outside of a place called Iquitos, which is just a really scary city. That is the only city in the world that you cannot drive to. You have to take a boat or a plane to get to the city.
Huh.
It's completely isolated other than that. But it's also the jumping off point for a lot of ayahuasca tourism, and for people that want to get out into the Amazon and check it out, because it's really just an amazing place. Incredibly biodiverse, really awesome, loving indigenous people and all that. But I went down there because I needed to work out some stuff, and I'd kind of felt this calling for the past couple of years to go down and participate in some shamanic rituals and talk to plants and hear things about the universe. But when I got down there, I mean, it's kind of a crazy travel day to get down there, because you fly out of America, and then I want to say it was 8 or 9 hours to get down to South America. But you fly into Lima, and then from Lima you fly into Iquitos, and then from the airport you get picked up in, basically like a little motor taxi, or a tuk-tuk, to use a Thai term.
Well, that's like just based on the flight. It's always funny because people say, "Oh, I'm gonna go to Peru and I'm gonna go see oh my gosh,
Machu Picchu.
Machu Picchu." And like to get to Machu Picchu from Lima, you have to take a plane, a train, a car, and then you have to walk. Like it's really, I'm surprised you don't have to take like a horse or something, like all modes of transportation on there.
Yeah, or you can take the terrible bus up to the top.
Yeah, I've heard about that. It's pretty bad.
Excuse me, I gotta blow my nose. So the buses, they have, there's 2 ways you can get up to Machu Picchu from like whatever, like the visitor center where you get in. One is you can walk up this trail, which is, it's like a kilometer straight up the side of a hill, and it's a pretty good hike. Or you can take these buses, and basically they load all these people up, and then you go up in this bus, and it just does switchbacks all the way up the side of this mountain. Probably, I want to say it was like 2,000 feet or something.
It's probably like a one-lane road, right?
It is a one-lane road. And the only place that you can pass is at the curves, right? So basically you have all these buses that are coming down, and all these buses are coming up, and they're going at full speed. And, occasionally they'll meet here, and this guy will stop, and this guy will crank around him. Yeah, but you're also looking straight down the edge of a sheer cliff when you're going on that stuff. Yeah, so it's pretty difficult to get to anything out there. But it's a full day of travel to get to Iquitos, and like when I checked into my hotel, because we stayed overnight in a hotel, and then we had to get on a boat and go 2 hours like into the jungle to go stay at this spiritual center. So when I was checking in, there was this Australian girl who was getting really, really mad at the lady who was checking us in, right? She was yelling at her about like not having the right reservation. Well, she was very politely yelling at her, but speaking very loudly to somebody obviously didn't really understand too much English. Yeah, and she had she had quite the fiery attitude. So I ended up getting checked in, whatever. We had like a little meetup later that night. Turns out she was actually going out to do basically the same thing too, same little group that I was with, or whatever. And so we caught up over, like I was like, you're you're pretty pissed off earlier. And she was like, yeah, she'd been traveling for like a month already, and just some things got messed up, and she didn't think she had a room there, and it was supposed to be taken care of by the tour company, and she's in the middle of a crazy, insane city, that you can't drive to in the Amazon jungle. So she was rightly so, like, very scared. So like the next day we ended up going out. Her name was Kinga, by the way, which I think is a pretty badass name.
Oh, was it Kingdom?
Kinga. Yep.
Yeah, it sounds like a superhero name or something.
Huh?
Sounds like a superhero name.
Yeah.
Or Kinga! I will find you!
But she was cool, and over the course of the next couple of weeks, as we're expanding our minds, going through serious psychedelic therapy, and just having really crazy experiences, like we kind of formed this bond. And when I tell you this, she was a beautiful woman. She was a very beautiful woman. Not one of those people that is really kind of classically beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
You know, she had like just some kind of overemphasized features.
Mm-hmm.
Two of which were big boobies, which were awesome. No, but
like
I'm just
what do
kidding.
they call it? The hourglass type shape thing? You mean? Or?
Yeah. No, I mean, I'm sorry. That was just a terrible joke. I mean, she just didn't have like, you know, like the high cheekbones and the, you know, perfectly symmetrical face, but absolutely beautiful. Full of experiences, like just a, you know, really, really loving girl. And we ended up spending like our last day in Cusco before leaving, where we kind of just had like a regular day to run around. And, you know, so we kept in touch, and, you know, we both got back home, and after the experience that we had, which was pretty intense, you know, we just kind of bonded about, you know, like, hey, well, now we're back to real life, and, you know, how do we process this and integrate everything that happened with us? So, you know, things just turned, like, really just, like, sweet and romantic on the phone and all that. So me, being the person I am, I'm like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm going to come down there. And I'm going to come down there for like a month.
Down under?
Yeah. To Sydney, where she lived when she went back. And at the time, it seemed awesome. It was like, you know, we were definitely...
rolling the dice. Like,
yeah,
things were,
at least, you know, at least in my eyes, things seemed like they were going, like, pretty amazing, you know? We're both, like, talking about, oh, well, would you move to America? Would you move to Australia? All that kind of stuff. So somewhere along the way, while we were talking, you know, we were talking about food and stuff that we like to eat, and she mentioned that she like her favorite thing is this stuff called Shakshuka. She's like I can eat it for breakfast, lunch, dinner, it doesn't matter. So obviously, I had to learn how to make it, so I could impress her from afar and potentially cook for her when I got out there. So you know, turns out it's actually very, very easy to make. And it's been one of those things that ever since the first time I made it, I understand why she liked it so much. Mm-hmm. And so now I'm, you know, I love it too. So do a little avocado oil, high flash point. Yeah.
It's not very hot. I remember the first time I put this on, I put the pan on a little bit crooked, and I turned it on. It's this magnetic field. It literally moved the pan. I was like, what?
Yeah, hopefully this thing doesn't like flip once it gets the oil hot.
It shouldn't.
Always got to cut the onions last.
Just don't cry. I forget what the trick is to not, like, just soak them in water, I think it is.
Yeah.
That's usually what I do. It's just...
Or the other way, you just man the fuck up. Yeah, for this I kind of like to cut these into smaller squares. Just because it makes it easy to go into a spoon. Oop. It's almost a little too hot.
So how many times have you made this, or how many times did it take you? How many attempts did it take you to finally get it to a point where you're like, I think I know how to make this?
Surprisingly enough, 2, maybe 3. Because it's just about getting the spice mixtures right. Because whenever you're using something like, or at least I've noticed this, whenever you're using stuff like paprika and cumin, like it can go pear-shaped like really quickly.
Yeah.
And when you're kind of mixing those two, it's kind of hard to figure out.
Cumin's one of those things I've noticed, like, just a little bit over, and it's overpowering beyond belief.
Yes.
Because we use it a lot with cumin cooking, like with pork and all that stuff, and it's just, a little bit too much. Like, I can't eat this.
Yeah.
This is way too strong.
For sure.
Kind of like smoked paprika, too. Since you said paprika, like smoked paprika is one of those things that's really good, but a little bit too much, and you're like, oof, this is overpowering.
Yeah. But it's also one of those things too, if you've got where it's working with an interplay with another type of spice, where you can kind of start to like, you know, like you're evening out your sideburns, which can also go terribly wrong.
And then
you
your
end up bald,
hair's gone.
you end up with your haircut.
Well, guess I'm shaving my beard.
Yeah.
Been there before.
So we're just gonna get onion sweat a little bit.
So you were approved for a month or longer?
3 weeks.
3 weeks. Because I remember seeing pictures of you down in the, I think it was Machu Picchu.
Yeah. That was one of our little day trips that we took, which that was pretty cool. Have you been to Machu Picchu?
No. I've been down to Peru twice and I haven't been back since. Because those 2 times it was just like, all right, it was a whirlwind tour. Like get there, work, and come back.
Yeah.
And the second time I got stopped at customs here, or border patrol. Did I told you that story?
Uh-uh.
So I took my camera with me, that one, because I wanted to record and see what I could get. And I come back and it was still brand new. And like I put it on the counter, and I guess it was recording. She goes, "Is it recording?" You go, I don't think so. So I took it and then I saw what it was. So I turned it off. And she goes, "Is it recording?" I'm like, might have been like a second or something. She's like, and she just kept hearing me. She's like, "Was it recording?" I'm like, "Listen, I don't know." She's like, "Why is it in your bag?" I'm like, "Do you see my backpack?" Like I had all my stuff in my backpack. I don't have space in my backpack. And she just kept hearing me like, "What is your deal?" I'm like, what the fuck is the problem? Like, it's like, "Was it recording?" I'm like, "I don't know." She's like, "You need to tell me if it was recording." I'm like, "I'm telling you, I don't know. It's a brand new camera. I don't know if it was." And she just, and then her manager got involved, and she's like, "Look, just tell me if it was recording." I'm like, "What part of
Border
I don't
Patrol?
know do you not understand?"
Where was this? Were you driving?
This
or
was coming through Atlanta.
Coming through Atlanta?
Coming through Atlanta, coming back into the country. Apparently, you can't have or record anything when you're coming through entry. And it's not posted anywhere or anything. And they just didn't believe me. So what happened is they took me aside, and they set me aside, and they went through all my phones. They made me unlock them. It looked through all my pictures, all my videos, my work phone, my personal phone, my camera. And then they had to file a report. And, yeah. So I'm in the system now, which is part of the reason why I haven't gotten my global entry application through. And I did that like a month ago. Like my buddy and I did it literally within 15 minutes. He got his approval for his condition within like a day. Mine is still awaiting.
Well, Mr. Perez.
Dude, if it wasn't for the fact that I had a flight to catch, I would have fought him. Like how are they allowed to legally force you to unlock your phone and go through all your stuff?
Yeah.
Like, what if I had confidential information there, like on my work phone? Like, I can't tell you, I can't show you this stuff. There's this could be SEC violation or something. But
They can do that. There are some countries, I think Japan is one, where they'll tell you the same thing, but if you refuse, they'll take you right to jail.
I can see Japan, but at the same time, we're not Japanese.
Well,
You know, like it's one of those like right to search and seizure. Like I don't know. Like,
you still wouldn't expect it to happen. I don't expect that to happen in Japan. Like I've been there, they're very tolerant. They don't have a lot of, crazy terrorism fears. At least that I've seen. They're kind of friends with everybody, except for the Chinese.
well, I was gonna say it depends if you.
Except for the Chinese.
Depends who you talk to.
Yeah,
Chinese
China.
have a word with it.
Yeah, they're still a little mad about that whole World War II rape of Nanking stuff.
Yeah, rightfully so.
Yeah.
But that'll take another generation. Well, no, the Japanese don't forget things. Neither do the Chinese.
My coming back through TSA in Peru, I went through Miami, which is awesome. You ever gone through Miami customs? Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Well, this time I didn't have any problems, which I was amazed too because, I was carrying probably like 4 kilograms of this stuff called San Pedro, which is another psychedelic.
Something's causing like not feedback, but like interference. I don't know what it is. Alexa, stop. I'm tempted to think it's that thing, but I'm not sure.
Do you have one?
The sous vide?
Oh, word. Still recording?
Now we're back. Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm coming back through customs, and I've got 4 kilos of this stuff. It's basically it's a plant
Allegedly.
medicine.
Allegedly.
It's a plant medicine. It's a cactus that has a high concentration of mescaline.
Mm-hmm.
So technically illegal, technically not. It's a plant, but it has it's one of those gray areas. right?
Well,
but definitely something that they wouldn't want me carrying in.
If you had allegedly had it, they would have probably taken it for quote unquote introducing a foreign species type of thing and not anything else really.
Well, it was in powdered form, so it wasn't really alive at the time. Again, gray area. If I would have allegedly done that, which I wouldn't because I'm a law-abiding citizen. I love America. But I mean, I'd already been traveling for 24 hours, whatever. When I get in, I was really pissed off because they made me check my backpack, and I hate it when that happens. So I grab my thing and I'm going through, and thankfully I got like old Bubba when I was going through, and and he's like looking at me and like looking down, like he starts asking me the questions, how long you been in Peru for? Why'd you go down there? And I'm like, and in my brain, which is, I'm incredibly paranoid about stuff like this. I'm like, he knows. I'm like, he knows. He knows. There's no reason for some white boy like me to go down there except to do this kind of stuff, and he knows that I got stuff in my bag and all that. But he gets to like the third or fourth question, and he's like, he looked at my hat. I had a Sweetwater hat on. It's got a trout on it. And he goes, hey, do any fishing while you're down there? I was like, actually, I did.
Did you?
And we bonded. I did.
Oh, okay.
I did. He was like, well, what'd you catch? And I was like, a lot of catfish. And he's like, all right, you're good to go. 1 teaspoon of paprika is where I start. Actually, for all these, I start with this, and then I just kind of add a little bit until I get to where I want it. So.
Do you taste it as you go?
Yeah. I'm going to do 2 cumin and 1 coriander. And then I'll probably start hitting it with more paprika immediately.
So Peru is an interesting place when it comes to like hunting and fishing. Like, there's no real regulations apparently. Like, because I know one of the guys I work with, he hunts a lot, and I was asking him, like, do you guys have like a wildlife commission? And he's like, nope, you just go out in the woods and hunt.
Yep.
He's like, you can only have a semi-automatic, and that's it. He's like, those AR-15 style rifles are illegal here, but I have my bolt action. So you just go out there and whatever I want to hunt, I shoot and I kill. It's like, he's like, I have bag limits. I don't know what that is.
Yeah. They do a lot of things right down there. They're also doing a lot of things wrong. Indigenous people are just, I mean, they've been going through hell for hundreds of years.
I wonder if this thing is causing interference. It's got to be this thing. It comes and goes.
Get that cord away from anything that's...
I hope I can capture the color, because this is so pretty. So when last time I went down to Peru, we take those red-eye flights. So you got there, it's like 1:30 in the morning. Half of the guys I'm with get through the customs line. I'm next, and literally it all goes down. Like, they just lost internet, and they're all just looking at each other. And you see the one guy just like clicking his mouse, and they're just like walking around like, what do we do? Like, I don't know, just fucking let him stand there. We literally stood there for 45 minutes as they just waited for the internet to come back. Like, you guys don't have any sort of manual process in case this happens? Or do you want to see my passport? Like, what do you want?
Yeah, it's an absolute clusterfuck down there.
Oh, 100%. 100%.
Okay. Do you have another one of these?
Cans or?
Can opener.
No, so that one's really finicky. I thought it was just me the other day trying to...
Oh. Keep going, buddy.
It's really weird, and I felt really silly for not being able to... So now I know it's not just me.
No, it's fucked up.
One of the interesting things that I thought about Peru was there's no sewers anywhere. There's no drainage, because they don't get any rain.
Open sewers.
You cut yourself?
Nope. Close, though. Sometimes I gotta troubleshoot.
First, I don't know if this will melt or not. What happened? The soap thing got caught fire. There might be a can opener underneath there.
I think I got this. Yeah, close enough.
That stuff always terrifies me because it's always that one slight move that you just like grab something with your hand, you just slice it open like completely, like, and then you don't know because it's red, so you can't tell what's blood and what's tomato sauce. And it's when you put it underneath the sink and you run water over, you're like, oh god, yeah, that's blood. That's like, have you ever shaved your head?
Yeah.
Or you ever cut your head while you were shaving it?
Oh, of course.
Yeah, it's like bloody murder, and you just smell the iron. And you're like, I could die. Like, I don't know how big of a gash this is. I feel it. It feels big, but it's just bleeds and bleeds and bleeds.
I think it's hilarious the first time people see head wounds because they don't expect it to bleed that much, and just the way that they, because every head wound looks like
it looks fatal.
Yeah.
You bust an eyebrow open, and you're like, oh my god, they're gonna die.
100%.
But then you get used to it. You're like, it's a little bit. Like if you were to actually measure, you'd be like, oh, you lost like 1/10 of an ounce of blood.
Yeah.
It's really not much.
I think it's just because people are used to like the little, oh, you cut your finger a little bit. Oh, that's how much you're supposed to bleed everywhere. And you just have a superficial cut in the head, and then it's just like all over. Put about a cup of water in here. And then some chicken stock.
Well, the thing too is some people get really freaked out in bad situations too. Like that's when you really see that fight or flight thing. They just like freeze. They're like, oh my god, what do I do? Like, well, first off, you have a wound, so let's assess it if it's bad, how deep it is. All right, we can see bone. All right, let's cover it. Can you drive to the hospital? Because I don't think it's fatal, but
Yeah.
Oh my god, look, calm down. I need you to keep your shit together, because he's gonna be all right. Just give me that paper towel over there.
Remember when I was talking about like my family thinking that I'm kind of like the oddball?
Mm-hmm.
So every year for the past couple of years, we've gone to Memphis for Memorial Day, and then we'll go there, we'll go hang out, we'll eat some food, then we'll go party on Beale Street for a little bit, and then we'll go up and we'll see like the grave where basically all of the dead Jensens are.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really kind of morbid. We go, we party, and then we go see the dead people, and then we go party more. But that's kind of like our family thing.
But is it like Jensen's that you knew, or is it just kind of like, oh, this is like great grandpa?
No, it's the oldest person is my uncle,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like my uncle and all of his kids and cousins and my sisters, my cousin and stuff like that. So there's a good mob of about 20 of us. But the reason why I say like up until this year, I don't think we're gonna go back to Memphis next time, because this year there was a shooting outside of a bar that we were in, and there was a riot the previous year that like everybody had to run from. That I missed it, but this year, I mean, we're in a bar. It's like 1 a.m. Everybody's hammered, listening to good music, and just having a good time, and
Mm-hmm.
dancing and shit like that.
And here comes the a-hole.
And the first thing we noticed, so we're standing in a bar, and it's probably about from me to that wall, and then there's the stage, and badass blues musician playing. And the first thing we see is like we see people coming through an open door in the back behind the stage, and they're just like running in like they're trying to get away from something, and then we hear gunshots.
Oh, Jesus Christ!
Right outside. So as soon as we hear the gunshots, right, my whole family just loses their minds, right? My cousin Joey, because his girlfriend just kind of ran, is like, he's crouched like next to the bar because as soon as I heard the gunshots, I was like, everybody get the fuck down, get down. And he stands up and he's like, his girlfriend left, and he's like, where's she? I don't know where she went. I gotta find her. I was like, look, dude, somebody's shooting. Sit down. We'll find her later. Calm down. And he just runs off the door. People in the bar are trying to close all the steel gates on the windows so people don't run inside and all this stuff. My other cousin comes up to me. She's like, where is it? Where's my family? Where's my family? I don't know where my family is. And I'm like, look, I'm your family. Get behind the bar, whatever. And I'm just standing there, and everybody's like screaming and running around, and my family's jumping. I'm just like, I'm making them sit down, but that's like their story of me that they tell everybody now. They're like, yeah, Scott's the person who like just stood there in the middle of like everybody losing their shit because there was a shooting outside. Actually, I'm gonna let this simmer a little bit more.
Do you think part of that was from your combat experience, or?
It was certainly from the military and from
because that's like when you see videos of
all that stuff.
Like you'll see a lot of videos of like journalists and stuff, and yeah, stuff starts going down, and like the Rangers is like, all right, get behind the car, and you see the gunshots, like the bullets laying right behind them. The journalists are flipping their shit, like, look, just calm the fuck down, like let's get behind the Jeep, we're fine, don't worry.
Yeah. Well, it's also just a matter of not letting your thoughts get to you.
Yeah, you
right?
have to deal with the situation.
If you sit there and you stew on all the bad things that can happen to you, like that's when you start freaking out and you start losing it. But it's like most people can't deal with that stuff, you know. Like
it's a scary thing. I mean, it's how often do people get in the face of pretty close to death? I mean, in a sense, or that close to it. I mean, sure, they drive in cars every day, but you don't think about it.
No.
Or gunshots nearby.
You should.
I remember we were riding our bikes one time. This is like in college, and somebody had like a BB gun or something, and they decided to take pot shots at us. Mm-hmm. And my two friends like, oh my god, they're shooting shotguns. Like, look, chill the fuck out. We need to just get out of here first. It's whatever type of gun it is. I don't think it's real because obviously I shot a lot at the time. It's like, look, it's not 9, it's nothing. It's just a fucking BB gun. But yeah, they just freak out. Like, look, freaking out right now is not going to solve the problem. Yeah, you got to get out of here first, and we'll call the cops. And
yeah.
But yeah, people freak out.
But you got to assess the situation first.
Yeah, you're like, all right. What do I got?
Yeah.
I have a pen. They have a 308. All right, this is going to suck.
Yeah. I forgot how we started talking about this.
I don't remember. you ever do that where you create like the web of how you got to certain conversations and you trace back to how you got there?
Yeah.
You're like, what? That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
Oh, you weren't going to go to Memphis again because of this shooting, the riot.
Yeah. I just forgot how we got there.
I don't know.
A little more cumin.
Cumin. So is that something you guys do for like a specific holiday or used to like go to Memphis was like Christmas, Thanksgiving, or just like Veterans Day weekend or something, Memorial Day?
Yeah.
So what are you guys going to do now? Just go to a different city or just not kind of meet up somewhere?
I'm trying to talk everybody into going to Asheville.
Asheville's pretty legit.
Asheville's amazing. My family's a bunch of super like liberal hippies.
Oh, they'd love it.
Craft beer, and I love them. I'm kind of hippie too. But they all love craft beer.
Yeah.
So it's
so I remember somebody described Asheville as it's a bunch of hipsters and old hippies.
Yeah.
And you're like, yeah, that nails it right on the head. It is a cool city though.
Yeah.
Wow, there's a lot of beer there. Like you really don't realize until you start looking at all the breweries. Like, wow, they're all like right next to each other.
Yeah, and good like world class. I mean, when you can like within less than half a mile, you can go from like Green Man to Wicked Weed to Burial.
Burial is awesome. I'm so mad that sour we had went bad.
Yeah.
God, their beer was so good.
Yeah.
And it was because they were more on the dark side, like the porters, the stouts, that sort of thing. But yeah.
Yeah, maybe at the time, but I mean, they make amazing pilsner. Like, I love that place because when you walk in there, there's no pretension. It's still super shitty.
It's so metal.
Super metal, like the doors hanging off the hinges.
Yeah.
It's just concrete everywhere.
Yeah.
You know,
tools
but then you go out
for ornaments.
Yeah. Tools for ornaments. Even though like they're consistently like rated one of the best beers in the United States. But then you have like that back patio, and they had that little food truck out there, which I don't know if you experienced that place.
We didn't eat it because we'd been drinking all day and we're so full from food and stuff. But yeah, that food looked,
dude,
looked phenomenal.
Like a bone marrow out of the side of the truck for like $8.
And it literally is. It's like the taco bus here. It's like a truck just parked out back. Yeah. And they had a little state. Yeah. Oh, this is legit.
Yeah. So any city that can happen in, like, I'm down with.
There's also that can't remember the name of it, but like French Chocolate Company or something, or Chocolate Street something. There's a couple of them there. That was legit, like probably some of the best cake, whatever it was that I had. It was just so creamy, but chocolatey, but not too strong. But expensive, but it was good.
Probably worth it.
I think that's one of the best pictures I've ever taken of food, and it was with my cell phone.
Okay. For the fun part.
Das Loaf?
Huh?
Loaf? Loaf is egg in French.
Oh, loaf. Yes.
One of
Loaf
the
et
few
fromage.
things, one of the few things I remember from Les 4 ans de français.
Now, for this, all the recipes that I found recommended feta. I prefer to use goat cheese. I just think it's a little bit creamier. I think feta kind of just throws the whole thing off.
Kind of falls apart, maybe.
Yeah, it adds a sourness that you don't necessarily need.
So do you think the feta came out of probably more the Mediterranean, whereas the goat cheese probably might have been more like the Middle Eastern, just because of the availability of it?
I just kind of went for goat cheese because I gravitated towards that. This is my own kind of spin on it. Yeah. So now you're just gonna kind of make little holes. Let's kind of siphon off some of the liquid. So we're gonna bury our eggs a little bit once we put them in here. So we'll do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Do one in the middle. But yeah, the feta was definitely a Mediterranean thing, or a Middle Eastern thing. It's freaking weirdos.
Well, that's like fried rice or pad thai. It's kind of like, oh, everybody has a different recipe. That's because it was whatever they had in their fridge. It's like, we got shrimp. Fucking throw the shrimp in there. Like,
yeah,
you know, it's literally their leftover meal.
So when I was in Atlanta, sometimes after training on Saturday, we'd go out to this place called Rain. That was a sushi and Thai place, but we'd go out there with Joe, and Joe's Thai, but he is like his family's Cambodian. And we go to this Rain place, and on Saturday they have like this, they have like a street menu that they don't really advertise at all, where you can get stuff like crazy boat noodles and just like really awesome, and it's a little bit more like Southern style Thai stuff. But when you got Joe there, like Joe will like order off the menu.
Yeah.
Right. And so he would get this papaya salad, which I'm sure you've had a Thai papaya salad before, right?
I don't know. Green papayas, right?
Yep, green papayas, super hot fish sauce. It's really delicious. But he'll get it Cambodian style, which the big difference for that, and it's very, very apparent, is they'll throw all of these, so shrimp paste, the little tiny
The little tiny
dehydrated shrimp,
Uh-huh.
and little tiny like crab claws, like the little arms of the crab.
Little baby claws.
Yeah, little baby claws. And like it's completely mixed different. They've got like a little side of pork rinds that they put next to it and all this, but it is worlds apart. The only thing that has in common with the normal, which I guess is like I forget what they name it for. Like I think it's tom Thai, is the papaya salad. It's like the only thing it has in common with it is there's papaya in it, hot, you know. But then you're chewing on these little like crab claws and stuff. All right, you go there. So cheese.
Goat cheese is so good. It's funny when you meet people who are like, I don't like goat cheese. I'm like, well, you never had good goat cheese, have you?
I don't like goat cheese. Well, fuck off.
They're kind of like pigs. Like they'll eat junk and give you amazing. So good.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a rich cream cheese.
Sometimes, like if they let the male goats like hang out, get a little stinkier.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I remember when in Cuba, we I don't know how we missed the information, but we're like, oh, we're gonna go get some water. You come back and they'd killed the goat that was in the yard. I was like, oh, well, that's cool.
What?
Like, all right.
What? You need to explain that a little better. That's a weird random occurrence.
I guess they had planned to kill a goat for dinner since we were there. We're like, oh, you really didn't have to do that. Like, that's... Like, we weren't big goat eaters.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah, they killed the goat. He got back and just draining it from all the blood while we're like, all right, I'm just going to enjoy this water.
Sorry, goat. Did you make friends with the goat before?
No. They were... It's just funny because they literally had nothing to eat. So they're just, like, eating rocks, like, random leaves off the trees. And the goats were really not my family, but...
So in that culture, would it have been considered rude if you didn't eat? Because that was like, that's a prize for them, you know? Like,
yeah, well, that's the interesting thing is, so obviously there it's like, at least for me, it was one of those like, we didn't want to drink that much water because you have to buy the water and it's expensive. But at the meantime, it's like they don't have. So it seems like in Cuba it's either you eat or you have like fancy things like clothes. So you really much have to pick. And obviously my family tends to prefer the eating part.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's like, oh, here I am buying this expensive water, but you guys don't have, you know, much to survive on, kind of thing, just because one of the stuff just doesn't exist. Because like my one great uncle was been building an addition to his house, like brick by brick, as he was able to get a hold of it from like stuff that my grandfather had sent them. It was just like, all right, I need 3 bricks. Oh, there's 3 bricks back here. So he would bike. This is a guy who's like 70 something. Most in shape person I've ever seen because he biked everywhere. Mm-hmm. Like legit, like he biked 40, 50 miles a day just to go get something to eat or to go sell something somewhere. It was just legit. Like he's probably gonna live to be 120 just because he's biking everywhere. Like I guarantee you,
he'll die on a bike.
And the thing is, it's like a little kid's bike. It's not even like a bike that would be fit for him. I almost think he would probably rival Lance Armstrong, considering his age. Un poquito sal.
Does that mean a little salt? Poquito is a little.
Un poquito, yes.
Un poquito. Do you like cilantro?
Yes.
Okay, just making sure.
So you throw this on before you throw it into the oven?
What's that?
You put this on before you throw it in the oven?
Yeah, a little bit. Because I like to let a little bit get kind of burned into the top, and then just have some chopped up to throw more on afterwards.
I just remember the last one where Rishi literally caught my hot kitchen on fire. Like he caught that piece of paper on fire. And I'm standing and he's like, oh, it's on fire. I'm like, oh, okay, haha. And I turn on, I see him holding this piece of paper that's legitimately on fire. I'm like, oh, shit. I'm like, God damn it.
Was he drinking?
No.
Alexa, set a timer for 10 minutes.
10 minutes, starting now.
Too funny. So you just chop that up now?
Yeah. Well, now I eat this goat cheese off this knife. It wasn't hurt 30.
What'd you think of Australia?
I fucking loved it, man. It was great.
Like I want to compare what your overall take on it was compared to what my buddy experienced.
So I've been down there 2 times. First time I went down, I was in Darwin. It was a military thing. We were only on shore for 4 days, so we just partied the whole time. Everybody I met there was super cool. Darwin's a little bit more of a rural kind of town. All the Australians that we met were super awesome, really nice. They loved Americans. Like, you know, literally these guys would like buy us beers and stuff. Mm-hmm. So very, very friendly. But there wasn't too much going on in that town. So when I went to Sydney, all things holding true for the people still. People super awesome, really nice. Loved Americans, just really friendly.
They really are friendly because now you mentioned it. I remember we went on a pub crawl here one time. And there was a bunch of Air Force guys there from Australia. And yeah, just like, hey, let's drink beer. And they bought us beers. Like, wow, you guys are really super nice. Like, unnecessarily. Like, you're visiting our country. Like, why are you? It's like, okay.
Absolutely. Well, they're just like that.
Yeah. Because my buddy said that they're pretty much very like they take their lunch hour to go surfing. Like, it was like everything was being outside, like just being active. Like, they just love.
Very active. Yep. Everybody's running everywhere.
Yeah.
Everybody's fit. All the women are gorgeous.
Yeah, that's what I told him. I was like, you gotta let me know, because that's my take on what everything I've seen from Australia is. Everybody there is like beautiful. He's like, okay, whatever. And he goes there and he's like, yep, you're right.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like everywhere you look, everybody's like a supermodel.
Convict genes. I don't know what it is. And not even the girls. Not even just the girls. It's like the guys are all just like tall and like
tan,
built like Michael Phelps.
Yeah.
But everybody's super nice. The thing I didn't realize about Sydney is just the beaches and how beautiful it is when you get out to the water.
And it's all within like 5 miles. Like, anything past apparently like 5 miles, like nobody lives there.
Yeah.
It's just all coastal.
Yeah. I mean, you get out of the city, and public transport is amazing out there. You can take a train from the center of the city, and within about a half an hour, you're out on Bondi Beach, which is one of the three most beautiful beaches I've ever been to.
Wow.
Yeah. And I don't know. It's great. Yeah.
Yeah.
What did your buddy think? Did he have a bad time?
No, he was over there for an acquisition, so he was whining and dining the whole time. But he said he loved it. And he was there not too long. He's like, the weather was beautiful, everything was beautiful, clean. Just, it's like he said, the people were awesome. It was almost intimidating to him and being, and he's an athletic person. He was like, yeah, they're just all about just being outside and just enjoying life. It's like, it's a really nice vibe.
Yeah.
He was, he said they went out to dinner and they had like a little piglet or something, like alive, and they literally killed it and cooked it right in front of me. He's like, I understand that's where your food comes from, but it's a little weird to see it killed right in front of you, and then they feed it to you. He's like, it was a lot for him to take in. He's like, Jesus, like, wow, all right.
Yeah. Oh, and also, like, which culture was it, Like, because it's a very metropolitan city, I mean, I had some of the best Malaysian food that I've ever had in my life. I've never had Malaysian food before, so I'm guessing.
Yeah, well, they're very, at least to the north, like all the mining facilities and stuff are all run by Australian companies up in like Malaysia. What's the other one up there? I'm completely forgetting all my geography right now. But yeah, all those all those countries,
all the stuff.
Guinea, all that stuff. Yeah, it's all Australian companies, and they just contract out people to go get paid a shit ton of money to go run these mining excavations, and 6 months, come back, drink like crazy, and go back.
Yeah. If I was going to move to another country, I think that would probably be one of the ones in the running, just because it would so easy to
transition.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not easy to get in there, like to emigrate there. It's a crazy process. It takes 2 years. I talked to this Colombian on the 17-hour leg of the flight down there, who is emigrating down there. He gave me the whole spiel on how long it's taken. It took almost 2 years.
Wow.
You had to have one of a certain number of defined skills. I had to go through all this testing and all this stuff. You have to do it before you're 50 because they don't want any old people coming down there. Like,
which is funny because it's like you said, it was based on a bunch of convicts. They're like, all right, get out of here. And they get there and like, all right, we need some order. It's just
they get down there, they're like, sure. I mean, everything's trying to kill us, but it's beautiful.
Yeah. I heard there's a display, is it the airport in Sydney or something, where like it's just a whole wall of spiders and stuff that could kill you, or species of snakes, and it's just like, yeah, all this can kill you. You're like, all right, thanks for the welcome message. I mean, I don't know, you know how it is when you watch travel videos, like it could be real, it could not be.
We went for a hike up in the Blue Mountains, which is about an hour outside of Sydney, and so after we went to basically like a zoo, because of course I had to see kangaroos and koala bears, and she made sure that I got to see those. But you also walk through the Hall of Snakes, where they actually have the adder. Alexa, silent.
Silence.
But you walk through where they have, like the adders, and like basically there's 7 out of the 9 deadliest snakes in the world.
Whatever the number is.
Yeah, and you see them all, and you're like, ugh. They're all just really terrifying, and you see the spiders and all this stuff. But before that, we were on the trail, hiking, middle of the mountains, like you're like in the middle of nowhere, and a 6-foot brown snake like crawled across the path in front of us. She almost walked right into it.
Yeah, she's like, oh, you can't figure out snake.
Yeah, totally. And the brown ones are the ones that you got to worry about.
Yeah.
Right. Well, she almost walked right into it, and like she grabbed me because I didn't see it either, and I finally saw it, and it was like literally like right in front of us, and it kind of slid it off. As soon as that tail like got underneath the bush, she was like, "Let's go!" And I was like, "What are you doing?" I was like, "Get back here!" Like, it's right there. I can see it. It's right there. It's plotting on us.
Yeah. I watched a couple hunting videos of people out there, and they just like, oh, careful, and they just step right over like this one of the 7 deadliest snakes in Australia. Like, oh, here's a spider, and it's like right next to his arm. He's like, you don't want to get bit by that. You're like, what? It's just a different level of tolerance. I remember watching the show once where he's like, yeah, my garage is infested with a bunch I've seen some black widows, and the exterminator shows up littered with black widows everywhere. She's like, yeah, I gotta go through all that every day to get in my car. Like, I'm talking like ants. Like, when you see ants, like they're swarming black widows. I was like, what the F? Like, and she's just like, whatever. He's like, yeah, they could kill you, but I just keep my car door closed and they don't bother me. I just get in and out of my car.
How did she not just burn her garage down the first time she saw that? Dude, I don't understand.
I don't know.
I could never walk in that garage again.
Yeah, you go in there with a spray can and a lighter. You just start burning everything down.
Kill it with fire.
Oh. Yeah, that's like if I ever saw something like that in here. Oh, the next day you'd see me fumigating everything and then just caulking every seal possible, every window. It just, yeah. Ooh.
You could dress up like one of those motherfuckers that kidnapped E.T. Like walk around in a mop suit.
Ooh, I'm just,
it's not so much that like the spiders are scary to me anymore. Totally cured of my fear of spiders, but if you see the wounds,
it's like horrible.
Like those ones, and
it's just
they just get necrotic.
Well, you gotta cut it out too. And you see the people who just like, oh, it'll be fine. Like, at what point do you think like, this isn't fine? Like, you need to go to the hospital. Like, when somebody sees it, it's like you just see like their muscle tissue.
Yeah.
Like,
as soon as I can see a divot,
doctor.
I'm going.
Yeah. It's like after a day, if you see it getting bigger, it's like, all right, I need to put aside my not going to the doctor thing and go see a doctor. Yeah. It's like when you have like, obviously like, doing fighting and stuff, you grow accustomed to a certain level of pain. Mm-hmm. Like, all right, it'll go away. And after like 3 days, if it hasn't gone away, like, all right, this might be kind of serious. 4th day, like, all right, I got to go see a doctor now.
Yeah, and it's also like the type of pain that you're getting too. If you're still getting sharp pains after 4 days, that's not good.
Yeah,
because if it's dull and you're healing.
Because there's a couple of times, when you first start with anything, you're like, oh God, it doesn't feel right. Like, I'd still hurt. And you go to the doctor, like, oh, we do MRI, sex. And then like a day later, it's away. Like, all right, there was nothing. But yeah, like you're saying, if you still having sharp pains, like, that's probably something.
Yeah, or if something just doesn't quite turn right.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if you're stepping on your knee and it's going like this, and you're like, why? I don't understand. Why isn't it?
Or if everybody else goes, you should probably see a doctor. Somebody goes, ooh, yeah.
Yeah, one of the last fights I cornered, doctor stoppage, middle of the first round, cut from an elbow.
Ooh.
And basically, like, what happened? So, I'm in the corner and I'm looking down the edge, and it's this girl just like came at my fighter, just very, very aggressive. Mm-hmm. Wanted to grab her, wanted to put her in the clinch because she outweighed her. She was much bigger, much stronger up here. And she'd gotten her up the ropes, and I'm looking and I'm watching, because Martinez, she kind of does this rope-a-dope thing. And she like always just like bounces back to the ropes, and something that I always worked with her on is she would just bounce back and just go like this and then bounce straight forward and not like roll off. And like I tried to like be like, look, you got to keep your hands up or you got to move this side.
Yeah,
so she did. Yeah, she did one of those, and just as she did, this girl just stepped in, bam, right. So you could see blood just start coming, right, and they're still going, and it's just like, whoa, that's kind of looking like a lot of blood. But again, head wounds.
Yeah,
we were talking about that before. We're gonna talk about head wounds as I'm grabbing this big thing of tomato sauce out of the oven here. But finally, like, the ref sees it and
hot.
Finally, the ref sees it and he's like, he gets the doctor, and the doctor comes up, and the doctor takes a look at it, and you see him shake his head, and the ref goes like this, and Martina's like, "What the fuck?" And I'm standing over there, I'm like, "What the fuck? Like, let her fight, Because like the doctor brought the cut man up, and the cut man was like, "No, I can do it." I'm like, "What the fuck?" So then she turns, and she comes to walk over to me, right? And as she walking, I'm looking in at her skull.
Oh, you're like, oh.
Yeah, she was cut from the
You
bottom
see
of
the
her
white?
eyebrow too, so almost into her eyelid, which that could have been.
Yeah,
she could have
that's
lost
really
an
bad.
eye up to here, and it was open.
Oh.
And, I could see on the inside something as white as this.
You're like, oh, yep, all right. Yep, you're right. You're good. Yep.
Yeah. But it's like that was one of those things where she walked over, and she didn't even notice the look on my face, but she's like, "Why did they stop it? Why did they stop it?"
You're like-
And I was like, "Look,
Cover your eye.
it's not good. Like we need to. That was a good call, But yeah, you're right. It's like one of those things where it's like when people are like, "Hey,
You should
That's not a
probably
good
take that
thing.
taken care of.
all right,
It's like, I remember watching this playing hockey where somehow they call a foul or they call a penalty on the guy. And he's like, "What the shit?" And he's all mad. And he looks up at the replay. And he goes, and he was like, "Oh yeah, all right, that's legit call." Like he just completely elbowed the guy in the face, by
Right.
accident. But he's like his face is all contorted. He was like, "All right, yeah, that's legit." There's an oven mitt up there, but I don't know how much better it would be than a towel.
it's fine. I just didn't wrap it enough. Alexa, start timer for 10 minutes. It's weird.
10 minutes.
Normally it doesn't take
Starting
this
now.
long, but the eggs haven't really set yet.
That oven can be weird sometimes, especially if you do the convection or the non-convection. Like when I was doing the chocolate chip cookies, I realized I did the 10 minutes regular, and I put the convection oven for 2 minutes, and it just started browning them up a little bit more.
So the convection oven is hotter on the surface.
I think. I'm not sure. You'd have to ask the coffee roaster since he knows all the
Convict?
science behind it.
Convert.
Does it have a little fan on it when you hit it?
Yep.
A little circle? Yeah, it's the convection one.
Okay, so we just want bake.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't even know that until Rishi pointed it out. I was like, oh, okay. Kind of like when you find out something you've been using for a long time, like, oh, I could have cut my workload in 90% by just knowing this one little feature.
Yeah.
Kind of like Control F when you're looking at documents and stuff.
Yeah. Find and replace.
Yeah. I taught that to somebody, and they're like, what kind of magic wizardry is this? I'm like, you didn't know about this? I'm like, how do you not know about this? It's like you're 30 something years old. Like, I didn't know this. Like, wow, you've been scrolling through documents your entire life looking for words. Like,
Yep. How many people have you introduced to the search function in Outlook?
oh,
And people are like, "Hey, can you send me this thing that you sent me last week?" Look, dude.
search in inbox, sent, Control F
Can you just search for it?
to Steve.
Yeah. No. I'm in a hurry. Listen, by the time it takes me to search for that thing,
You would already have it.
pull it up, forward it, for it to go through the whole system and get to you, you would already have it. Just go into that little
We've,
script, go into that little box, and type what you're looking for.
It's funny because you always think oh, this person's never responded to my email, that sort of thing. We've had a couple screen shares with some high level directors and stuff. So they pull up their computer, 800 plus unread emails. Like, good Lord, just don't even bother emailing them. It's just one of those. It's just gonna get lost. If it's important, just call them.
Yeah.
It's how do you go back from that? Just fuck it, just delete everything.
You don't.
If it's important, they'll call you.
I started a couple years ago. Whenever I would go on vacation, I'd leave my out of office, typical stuff like, "Hey, I'm going to be out of office from this day to this day. No access to email, blah, blah, blah." But I started putting, when I return, I'll delete every email within this time period. Please contact me after this date.
Yeah, if it's important,
Yeah,
call me
if it's important.
or send me another
And
email.
it works. Like, people either they figure out what they need to figure out, or they'll contact you afterwards.
Yeah, because you can come back to a couple hundred emails. You're like, there's no way I'm
no
going
way.
to get through this. And you have to try and follow these trains of thought and these conversations that you weren't there for. It's just,
Yeah.
why?
Yeah, you start at the bottom of a chain. It's like, "Oh shit, oh shit, oh shit." Okay, they fixed it. Okay. Oh shit, oh shit. Hey, I got it. Oh wait, never mind.
It's a roller coaster.
Yeah, why would you want to deal with that? That's too much negativity in your life.
That's one thing I've learned is that, like, if you have employees, is like, you gotta talk to them like every day, or else you don't know what's going on, and then, like, stuff comes up, you're like, why didn't you tell me? Like, oh, I didn't think it was that important, whatever. Like, all I need to know is that everything's good or bad. Just let me know. Or if it's here, like in the middle, let me know, and I'll so I would not get blindsided by it when it all goes tits up and we lose these contracts or whatever it is, you know. But
see, I'm a fan of the like. I don't want to hear about it. Just fix it.
it depends if you
Tell me
have
if something's really
if you
fucked
have
up.
if
Tell
you
me
have
something's
good
really bad.
employees, yes.
I think you should just out yourself with your hatred.
It's pretty well known. Or not my hatred, but the hatred towards me. I'm like, no, whatever. I don't care. Fire me. That's kind of the approach. Like, oh, okay, I'll be fine.
Would you take that as a blessing?
Sometimes. There's been a lot of times in my past jobs and even here where, like, because it's when it was like, all right, now your back's against the wall. Now you need to figure out what you're going to do. Like, now's the time to, it's kind of like when I was like push you out of the plane when you're skydiving. Like, I'm not going to go. Like,
Yeah.
there you go. Better learn to pull that chute.
Yeah. That's why I always tell people that are unhappy and they're like, I don't know what I'm going to do. I've been unhappy for 6
Take
months.
a shit on your boss's desk and get
you know,
fired.
but I got to get it to the right place, you know, and all
Yeah,
that stuff. It's
that's
like,
just-
no, dude, you got to
really don't.
just leave. Just don't do the thing anymore.
Yeah.
If you need money, right,
You'll find a way.
find a way,
Mm.
you know.
Just eat ramen.
Well, eat ramen or just find something else to do, you know. Like,
Yeah.
you'll figure that shit out.
Yeah, it's always that aspect is always interesting to me, because like I wouldn't know what I would do. I mean, this thing is I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd find something.
What wouldn't you do? You could do a lot of stuff.
That's the thing is But what to do sufficiently well to get better at and get paid well for it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I wouldn't be. If I got fired, I wouldn't freak out. It's kind of like I know somebody who got fired from his position, and they were all worried. Like, they escorted him. He's like, actually, I'm kind of glad. Like, he's
Yeah.
like, I was over my head in this job. Like, this is not what I was expecting when I got the job. Like, you guys completely derailed me on this position. He's like, I'm fine.
If you
I'm
get
happy.
to that point, like, it's a better thing for the person. It's a better thing for the company.
Yeah.
Like, why wouldn't you feel good about that? It's kind of like divorce.
Yeah,
You know?
it sucks, but it's the best for everybody.
Yeah. Nobody ever got divorced because, you know, they were having they had a good
Yeah, they were
relationship.
happy and everything. Is like, oh, we're so happy we can't be together. Yeah.
Yeah, I forgot. Somebody had a bit about that. I think it
it
was
was-
Theo Von.
Maybe Louis C.K. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I think it was Louis C.K.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's right.
Yeah, there's definitely been a. I mean, I always maintain the position like if I'm not doing my job, fire me. Like that's that's how it is. That's like when you go into a position, you see like, man, this person needs to get fired. Like you're just a cancer on this company.
Yeah, but
Like,
don't
you
you
need to get
know if
fired,
you're
you
not
need to get
doing your job?
You know, I don't know. I
I've
don't
taken
know
myself
anymore.
out before when I was like, I can't do this. This is beyond my capacity to get anything done.
I don't know because I know like one of the companies I used to work for, like there were some people that just they needed to be fired. Like there was one guy who would show up late, like he'd show up around 10:30, 11, take a 2-hour lunch and leave around 3. And this same person falsified reports so that they could get stuff out on time, and they weren't fired. I'm like, if you falsified reports for me, you're gone that very day.
It's weird how it's a game. Like it's not supposed to be, right?
Mm-hmm.
You would think that in an organization, if someone is not pulling their weight, if they're not contributing, then they would be found out and they would be exited, right? Or they themselves would feel just this empty pit in their stomach because they're not really doing anything, they're not providing anything. But you still have people that are, you know, they're able to play the game and they can skate by, and they actually have the motivation to do that. You know, how can
That's
we
the,
do-
yeah.
how
That's
can
the
we
thing
do
is
as
because
little as possible?
there's a certain percentage like, okay, look, maybe you're just not great at what you do. We're gonna help you. We're gonna work on it. But like when you blatantly, like you're saying, do bad things, essentially, it's like what? Like you don't. I'm gonna wake up today and lie about all this stuff.
Yeah.
It's not like they're putting in the effort either because they literally would do nothing.
Yeah, or they're putting in the effort to avoid shit.
The best is the people who sit there and like, oh my god, I have so much work to do, and then you look at them and they're on Facebook all the time.
Yeah.
You're like, really? I'm pretty sure you're good. It's like, I'm doing work.
I'm always wary about someone that'll talk about how busy they are.
Yeah.
I'm so busy. Well, in Chuck's society, if you're too busy, then that means either A, you're incompetent, right?
Which
or
is the
B,
case.
which could be the case. Or B, they need to hire somebody else to do,
Yeah.
to help do your job.
Yeah, it's an interesting deal.
But that's a part of the game, though, right? So, I've got another book in me someday.
How's your writing coming?
It's coming along pretty good. It actually is. But I've got another one. And one of the games that people play is the I'm busy game, right? And that's a part of virtue signaling, right? So it's kind of like it's a game kind of alongside one of my other favorite games, which is is always in meetings person, right? The person who calls the most meetings to virtually, to signal their importance.
Oh, on that same note,
Do you know what I mean? You know
I
what I
had
mean?
somebody one time go, "When can we meet? Because I have to take my kid at 3:30." And I'm like, I don't give a shit what you're doing. Just tell me what time you're available. Like, I couldn't care less what you're doing. Like, if this is that important, you just schedule a meeting with me. You have my calendar.
Yeah.
You can quote unquote schedule a meeting or come by my desk. I don't give a shit what time you have to leave because you have a doctor's appointment or a kid. Like, that doesn't tell me anything. Like, I don't care.
Alexa, silence. Yeah, well, that could be somebody genuinely communicating that they have a conflict in their time, or that could be somebody.
No, they're just incompetent.
They just suck.
This person's just incompetent. And it's one of those, like, everybody knew. Everybody's like, oh, I don't want to work with so-and-so. Oh my God.
Now, I'll tell you one thing about this. I can't do this now, but having this with some toasted sourdough.
Oh, God.
It's buttered to the hilt. It's probably one of the most delicious things you'll ever put in your mouth.
That's good. I didn't even get any eggs on that one. I just had vegetables there. Yeah, that's pretty good. Oh. The goat cheese really cuts out that acidity.
Yeah,
That's really good.
glad you dig it.
Well, that's good. Let's thank you for cooking.
Yeah, no problem.
Let's call that a wrap.
Yeah, thanks, Kinga.
Until next time.
Yeah, until next time.
After all the editing.
Ooh, hey, ha, ooh.